Hey crafty people, it's Tasha, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm taking part in the Altenew Vintage Galore video off for the new release for January 2022, my goodness. So I'm going to be working with this gorgeous Wedding Promises stamp set. I absolutely love this set, and I made a sample card for the release. I'm going to pop that up now, and I'm going to be using the same design but creating 3 completely different style cards. It's going to make sense. So we're going for another 3 styles, 1 design, 2 products, 3, 2, 1. So I've got the Wedding Promises stamp, the outline stamp, and I've just added that to my Misty. Now I'm going to be stamping this 3 times, and it's a layering set, but it's a really simple layering set. I'm going to show you some different ways to kind of step it up a little bit. You need to make sure when you are doing these layering stamps that you've always got your cardstock right down in that corner. You'll see I keep checking every time I lift a stamp up. Before I stamp down again, I check that it is in the corner, because otherwise you're not going to get it in line. So I stamped 2 with the obsidian ink for the outline, and then I'm going to stamp another one here, and I'm using buttercream for the outline now, because we're going to get a sort of no line colouring kind of effect from the stamp. So I know that's difficult to see on the camera, but trust me, it is there, you can see it. So once I've got the outline stamped up for all 3 of my cards that I'm going to be making, I pop the first one back in place, and then I'm going to grab out the first layering. Now I've zoomed in a little bit here so you can see, I'm hoping you can see, all those little sort of balls, embellishments that are on the cake. They make it so easy to line these stamps up. So you're looking for those, you're looking for sort of the jigsaw puzzle ends where the flowers meet the cake, and if all of those things are in the right place, then you're in the right place, and you just might need to just gently slide it, so to pivot it from where you are in the right place, and you will see when that all slots in, basically. So for this first one, I'm just going to stamp buttercream. So there's no like shadow or detail layers with this set. You've got the outline, and then all of the individual elements get coloured. But I wanted to step it up a little bit. So for this second one, I've stamped buttercream again for the main colour of the cake. And now I've got caramel toffee, I think I want to say, which is the next colour in that ink family, and I've just sort of gently rocked it around the edges of that stamp, and then I've used one of the little mini blending brushes just to soften the edges of that colour, and that's just going to give us a bit of variation in the colour on that one. Now for the no line colouring one, I've stamped it again in buttercream, and this time I'm going to add a little bit more of the buttercream around the outside. That's going to give us, as you can see there, it gives us a slight variation in colour, but nothing too dramatic. So next I've got the little serving plate thing in place, and again this one's so easy to line up. So the first one, I think if I did it again, I wouldn't go quite as dark. So for this second one, where we're kind of stepping things up, I just stamped it the 2nd generation stamping, which means straight from the one that I stamped first, without wiping off the ink or adding any more ink. I stamped it down again on the second image. Then I've added a little bit more just around the very edges where the cake meets, and soften that off with my finger because I don't have a grey blending brush. So just be careful if you do that, because you could end up with inky fingerprints on your work, which is not good. But yeah, I'm a little bit lazy sometimes and do that. So for the no line colouring, I've just done the same but with a lighter ink. So now we're going to be colouring in all of those little dots. Again, really easy to get in place. You just need to make sure you're looking directly over it, and if those dots aren't perfectly in place on all of the dots, then it's not in the right place. You could have it where most of them seem like they're in place, but a couple don't. Then it's not quite right. You just need to just pivot it, tilt it a little bit, just tiny bits at a time until you see it all snap in place. So for the first one, I'm going to be stamping them gold, but when you stamp the gold, it's quite difficult to cover the whole of that white area. So I've decided to just stamp it first with the honey drizzle, just to give me a little bit of colour behind that gold, so that the white doesn't shine through quite so much. So then I'm going to stamp it with the antique gold, and I do stamp that twice, and that's going to give us a really beautiful shimmer when you sort of tilt the image side to side. So for this one, I'm starting with the strawberry ink, which is from that new Frozen Delights set. It's a really pale pink, pinky red, and then I'm going to add some blush ink to the bottom, the outer edges of those balls again, just because this image would be rounded, so you want to add the darker parts to the outside edges to make it look like it's rounded, basically. They did the same for the no line colouring. Then the flowers that are on this cake, it's really easy. They've separated them out on the sheet, so you've got the flower and then the leaf images, and they've got like circles around them. And here I'm just showing you again that it's just really easy to get those fitted in place. You can really tell if it's not right. So I've added some vibrant red to that first one, beautiful deep orange colour to the second one, and this third one I've gone for a really pale light pinky colour, and then I'm going to add the leaves as well, and then that's our 3 wedding cakes fully stamped. And I love the way you can really change that one image. They look totally different, and it's hardly taken me any time either. I like to stamp multiples when I've got these, because by the time you've lined all of them up, it's so much better to stamp several of them, and then if you've got the dies like this, cut it out, and if you're not going to use them all straight away, just slip them in the back of the packaging, and then you've got them for quick cards in the future. So here I've got the new dotted tile debossing folder, and I've just run that through on 3 separate panels of A2. So I've got a white panel, like I don't really know what you'd call that, salmon-y coloured panel, of just cardstock from my stash, and also a piece of the Blends patterned paper, which I am obsessed with. So next I'm going to be adding some vellum to each of my cards. I really like the torn edge vellum look, so I've just torn off some strips of vellum and I'm going to add them to my card. My favourite way to do this is to wrap it around the back and secure it from the back of the panel, because then that vellum is loose and beautiful on your card and you can't see any sort of adhesive through it. I do like to use my bone folder just to reinforce those score lines at the edge, so that it does sit nicely. And then I did pop just a tiny bit of the tape behind where I know that my wedding cake is going to be sitting. For some extra interest and texture and yumminess, I've grabbed out the pack of metallic threads, and I'm going to use each of those 3 threads on one of the cards that I'm making today. So I think this is the antique one, but I will have all the colour combinations and everything all out on my blog, which you can check out. I'll have the link below. So I'm just adding those messily, and then I'm using some of the Instant Dimension tape to stick that wedding cake over the top, and that is what's going to hold that string in place. This sentiment is from the new Sentiment Strips 3 set. It says, cue the confetti. I love it. I've used this loads. I've made loads of wedding cards this month. So here I'm just showing you a different way that I like to add the vellum as well. And I've got 3 smaller torn pieces, all of which I am going to attach the same way. Just use some of the satin tape to hold those in place, whilst I glue them, stick them to the back. So as I said before, this is a video hop. I think you should have arrived to me from Altenew's channel. That's the word I was looking for. And I'll have the link to the next video in the hop down below. Don't forget to leave comments as you go through the hop for the chance to win one of 8 $25 vouchers to Altenew, where you can get yourself some of these yummy, lovely goodies. Because, yeah, they're awesome. So I'm just adding a sentiment onto each one. Again, like I said, I will have the sort of formulas of what I use for each card over on my blog, because I didn't want to make this video too long. But I've changed the no line colouring one up a little bit by rounding off the corners, just because I thought that that felt a little bit softer and that worked with the soft image. So I've added some different sequins to each one, and those are my cards. So as you can see, I'm showing you the original sample one that I've made, and then these 3, and that's the same card formula, the same products, but I've just changed up how I've used them a little bit, and that really massively changes the card that you come out with. So I'd love to see you have a go, try this card formula, but with products that you've got in your own stash if you don't have these ones. So if you like the video, please do give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you aren't already. I'd love to have you here. Hit that bell so that you are notified whenever I post a new video, and I hope that you have a lovely, happy, safe and wonderful week. Stay crafty. Bye.